Hey, you guys. Sorry, I am a few minutes late. I am still blow drying my hair, so I'm actually going to do one more blow dry because I took a very long shower when I got home. You guys, last night I was in freaking jail for the night. Like I have learned so much about the torture that happens when someone goes to jail. And I think it's important that we process it as a community. I know a lot of you have experienced it too. Maybe not a lot, but several of my friends I've picked up from jail before just for stupid things, traffic violations and whatnot, or, hanging out on the street. So it's just wild. The energy in there is just so abusive. And I just want to share it because, like, it's really hard to talk about it. Like, my friends who have gone through it, they would say a couple things about it and then not want to talk about it anymore. But I think it really helps for people to know what they went through, and maybe this can give a little healing to those of my friends and people who aren't my friends who experienced a night in jail. And that being said, it's different for everyone. Like, what I went through might have been more torturous or like nothing compared to what other people go through. And it was just one night, which I'm so grateful for. Like, the idea of it being more than one night was torturing me for a moment, and I'll get into that later. But I know a lot of you probably want to know why I was arrested to begin with. And so I'll just go into that shortly, but I don't want to go into the bullying I felt during that process, just because it's going to bring some stuff up. And I'd rather talk about the jail experience because I think that is the most important thing for me to get out right now. Maybe I'll talk about both. We'll see. By the way, thank you for being here. My name is Aviva if you're new to my channel, but you're probably a friend of mine watching because you want to support me, and I appreciate you so very much. But just real quickly, I put a link in the comments from something that happened from, oh, I set an alarm, sorry. Oh, I don't even set alarms. So, in 2016, I got a traffic violation, which I felt was unfair. So I said I wanted to take it to court, and I moved and I filled out a change of address form, and they must have sent my court thing to the other address, and I never got it. So I never knew my license was suspended, and they pulled me over and said, "Your license is suspended. I need to arrest you. Basically, you're going to jail." And I was like, wait. Like, I did not know that my license was suspended. He's like, "That's not my problem." And I think I know why. I think it's because this court thing that I failed to appear at was sent to a different address. And that's not fair because I gave the change of address and I never got it. Hold on one second. So, yeah. So I think I will go back to the arrest story and catch some people up who might not have got this part because it shows me that only one person is watching, which is fine. But I did say I was going to blow dry my hair real quick. Let me just blow dry one more dreadlock. I'll be right back. And I'll just warn you, like, I will probably burst out in tears, but maybe not because I've gotten a lot of great tears out. I'm using my Bach flower essences. And don't be scared. Don't be scared. We have to process emotions when we go through traumatic things. And sometimes the tears that we cry, are tears from the past also that we're finally getting through because of these experiences that are bringing them back up, aka triggers. So, the whole time I was in jail, I was like praying. I was like, what is this trigger? I'm like, what am I learning from this? What is the lesson? And that's one of the coping medicines, yeah, methods that I put in the description. I started to jot notes. I have so many notes. There's so much I want to share because I basically was, if this was like a video game, I was like pushed into this crazy corner level and I got out. Thank God I'm still alive. And I feel like I'm still sane. And if it wasn't for me writing a song, I don't think I would be like smiling right now. Like that literally kept me sane while I was in there. So, okay, story time. I want to make this somewhat entertaining so I'm not just like emotionally processing like, okay, how do we tell the story? How would I tell this story to my grandkids? Well, Peter and Samantha, your grandma once got arrested and she stayed in jail for one night. Hopefully, this is the only jail story I will have for them. And this is what it was like. Well, you go in there and you take your jail picture. Do y'all want to see my picture? I should have put it on me. Oh my God. I'm like, I'm gonna smile. Like my whole goal was to like try to add love into that place while I was there. That's my mugshot. Oh yeah. Don't let me lose that. That's my court date. My court date is June 20th. Pray for me. So yeah, if you think you can help me in any way, anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So what happened was they took my mugshot and then they're like processing my information or whatever. And I have to give them my possessions. And the policeman, Officer Sanders, I was trying to explain to him all of my music equipment. Anyway, he's like, what else do you want? I'm like, everything. Anyway, he gave me my phone, and for some reason, they took out all the money from my tip jar because I just played at Golden Drops. And they didn't even take the money out of my wallet or my credit card, so I couldn't even bail myself out. But anyway, that was my possessions. And it was like, it just added to the stress of everything to have like a stack of dollar bills, like $40 bills. And then at the end of it, it was like a bank. It was like they just gave me 20s. I'm like, oh, okay, that's easier than the dollar bills. That's one positive thing that came out of here. Anyway, so I had to give them my possessions. I had to like sign all these forms, sign here, initial here, initial here. You'll get this back when you get out, if you get out. And then they were like, okay, the doctor wants to see you. And they wanted to give me a TB test and to sign like my medical rights to them so that if anything would happen to me, they could put their hands on me. And I was like, so do I have to do this? And they're like, no, but we'll put you in isolation and we'll give you a jumper. And honestly, that was one of my motivations to not do it because they basically arrested me in my bathing suit. So I was cold and I was like, okay, I want that jumper. And, they respected the fact when I was like, hey, I'm Jewish. I don't want to put pig protein in my arm because it was made of pig protein, this TB test. Like, okay, you just have to isolate and be in your own cell or whatever. But they said I would be in my own cell anyway. So they're like, change into this jumper. I changed into the jumper, and then they took me up to my cell. Oh, they said I can make a phone call and I could write a few numbers down real quick for my cell phone. So I wrote my bestie's number down. I actually memorized her number because I didn't know if I'd be able to write it down. So I sang it like all the way to the jail so I would remember it. So I was able to call my bestie when I got there, and she was like, praying for me all night and connecting with other people I know. And then I went upstairs, and the most ridiculous thing happened. Okay, so when they take your possessions, they say to make up a pin and you have like a calling pin and you have to use your pin, but not when you're downstairs, only when you're upstairs. And this is ACDC. So I'm sitting here, I'm wearing my big red jumper with like ACDC on the back and ACDC down the leg. And I'm like, this is a pretty cool outfit. But anyway, I was so happy to be warm because I get cold so easily. So I just, every step of the way, I was just, squeezing out. What am I grateful for in this moment? What am I grateful for in this moment? So when I get upstairs, I know I wrote down 3333 as my pen, and I get up there and I'm like, and they're like, once you decide to not hand your medical us, once you say that we can't be medically responsible for you, which is fine with me, like I'm responsible for myself. I don't want your shots. I don't want your jabs. God's with me. They're like, if you fall out, we can't touch you. We can't help you. I'm like, that's fine. I'm gonna be okay. And what was I saying? I'm dissociating because there's so much going on. Oh, they also said we have to watch you for 24 hours. You have to be isolated, but you can still go to court. I was like, okay, as long as I can go to court and leave before 24 hours are over, if it's possible, yes, let me do this. So, because I was like, I chose to be possibly TB dangerous because I wasn't taking the test, I felt like I couldn't like be out in the open and use the phone. And they were like yelling at me, like, you have to do it really fast. And I'm just, it's just the most ridiculous thing. I was laughing so much about this because they go, write your pin, like punch in your pin. And I'm like, it's not working. The 3333 pin. And by the way, it's like after like 4 prompts, and they act like it's so easy. They're like, just press 110. And I'm like, 1. And then it's like, have you been sexually abused? Press pound. And I'm like, 1. And then it's like saying something else. It was not just 110. But finally it got to the prompt, enter your pin. I entered the pin and it doesn't work. And she's like, your pin's not 3333. They changed it to 1313. They said it couldn't be 4 straight numbers. I'm like, they never told me. They're like, you never heard them say that? Okay, well, maybe it was me not hearing them, but that was weird that I never got the memo. And then she's like, but it's not just your pin. You got to do your whole like entry number. And she like yelled it out. She's like, 23,5515. I'm like, 23,000. And I'm thinking it's like 23,515, right? 23,000. I don't know. I'm like, wait, you mean 235,000? She's like, no, it's so easy. And then I was like, I'm telling you, it's not working. She's just like, go to your room. And I'm like, oh, I can't call anyone. I'm all alone. Anyway, today, the same thing happened. I didn't want to give that away, but I'm going to wait. Okay. We're going to wait with that. I have to remember to tell you that part at the end. You're not going to believe it. So anyway, I couldn't figure out the phone. I go into my cell and it's nasty. And I go out and I'm like, can I please clean it? Can you give me cleaning supplies? I will just clean it so good. There's like pubes and dust that's like 15 years old. I'm like, I will make this place nicer than it's ever been. And remember, people, in order to stay sane in this world, you have to stay clean. I made some signs, but I don't know where they are now. I made some props. One of them says, Sanity is cleanliness. So that's one of my survival mechanisms. If I'm somewhere that's driving me crazy, clean. So I start cleaning the bed. Like the bed is like a cot, and it's got like a plastic mattress. But if you pick it up, there's like piles of dust. And she's like, "Oh, that's just from the blanket." But it was like hard and gooey. I'm like, "Do you have a vacuum?" And she's like, "No, you can use this broom." And the broom was covered with dust. So I cleaned the broom first, and then I tried to get the gunk out. And I was using my toothbrush. I'm like, I'm not gonna brush my teeth. I'm gonna clean. And um, I just cleaned as much. Like the walls had like yellow things and red spots, and it was a cement wall with that was painted, like that kind of thing. And there was like a place that needed caulking, and there were like splots of caulks in the places that like they obviously didn't do it right. And anyway, I cleaned the sink, which was also where I was going to get water, which had all the little black curlies on it. And I had a nice big roll of toilet paper, so that was good. And she gave me one rag. I cleaned as much as I could. I'm like, "Can I please have one more?" She's like, "Just one more." So I cleaned the floor, I cleaned whatever I could. It was still nasty when I was done, and I'm pretty sure the floor was asbestos tiles, which is not good. And they were broken. So, little asbestos particles. I was trying not to freak out about it. Okay. Um, how big was the room? Hey, Amand. Thank you for the love. I want my friends to be here with me as I share this story. Um, okay. So yeah, black curlies in the sink in jail, which I realized I didn't get all out this morning, but whatever. Okay. So they gave me one blanket and one cover sheet and a little like those little sheets that you stick inside sleeping bags that are like two on top of each other. They're like it's like you're like you become a little mermaid or whatever. And you should have seen my reaction when I found out there were two sheets. I was so happy because I was like, even though I cleaned the metal bars, I wanted to cover the metal bars completely before I lay down on it because I didn't want my feet to touch the cracks because they were still not fully clean. They had gunk in them. Um, so the room, it's like you walk in and there's a sink and then there's a toilet. Oh, and she was like, "You want your tray?" And I'm like to write on? Like, what do you mean? She's like, "Food." So it was like a styrofoam tray of food. I was like, "No, that's okay." It was like fast food. I'm like, "I'm just gonna fast while I'm here. I'm just gonna do water. Could I just have water?" And so I got a styrofoam cup with like toothpaste and a toothbrush in it, a little toothbrush. And then I just filled the cup with the water fountain water. And she's like, "You could have water in your sink," but that didn't really work out. So I basically just had one little tiny styro cup full of water from 9 p.m. till 9:30 a.m. this morning when they let me out finally. And it is so psychologically disturbing to be in a little place. Like, I thought I could handle it, and maybe I could if it was like a beautiful like yoga studio or something and not a nasty place where you smell. Anyway. Okay, so you have the sink, you have the toilet, and the toilets are so weird. They're not normal toilets. So usually a toilet has like a flat thing that you sit on and a lid. This was just like one little object and like it went down. So if you sat on it, it's like this shape. So I was trying to like squat on top of it, but I don't know. I didn't trust my aim, so I just put a bunch of tissue paper down and did what I could to enjoy the moment of release. You guys, I am Sorry, I'm laughing so much. I'm just so happy to be out of that hellhole, and I don't want to diminish how nasty the experience is in jail. And I'm trying not to laugh so much, but I am healing right now, and I'm so happy I'm not in there. And the whole time I was in there, I was thinking about how funny things were if I wasn't in there anymore, and how I'm going to be so happy to laugh about them. But in the moment, they are not funny. Okay, so I'm describing this cell to you so that you can be prepared if it ever happens to you, or so you can feel like I understand you if it happened to you. So there you go. You open the door. It's a wooden door. It's got a big metal clasp, and it's got like it doesn't have a door handle. It's got like a metal thing that you grab, right? From the outside to the inside. So if I was going to do that, I would pinch my knuckles. There's no way to do that. Oh wait, maybe it was like on the inside. Yeah, like anyway. And then like I like try to close it and she screams, "Close the door." Now mind you, I just had this arrest situation and I'm not going to go into it, but my wrists got really hurt. My poor wrists, they're so red still. I should probably put more ice on them. So I'm like, every motion is kind of painful for me. Mwah, 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 mwah. And so she's like, "Close the door." I'm like, "Okay, I guess that's better than you slamming the door on my face, but like, how do I do this?" And she's like, "Just pull it harder." So I'm like, you have to like put your fingers in this metal thing and pull it, and then it goes slam. And then the moment's like, I'm gonna be in this room for 12 hours and I can't leave. Like, ah! Like, what the fuck? Oh my God. And so, like, yeah, you literally can't. Like, I didn't even ask to. Like, I didn't think that was an option. So immediately I start hearing like someone banging, "Let me out!" Just like bang, 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 "Let me out, let me out!" Lots of screaming and clanking. And I see there's this like button on the wall. And I'm like, well, maybe if I press the button, it's an intercom. And so I press it. And she's like, "Can I help you?" And it's like beep at the same time. So it's like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, okay, I think she said, "Can I help you?" Is everything okay? I hear a lot of banging, almost like someone's taking apart their bed frame. And she's like, "Everything's fine." I'm like, okay. So, so I close the door on myself. There's one little tiny window in the wooden door. And I'm like, man, those bars that you see in movies would be so much better. Maybe. It would let a lot of light in though. But still, you just feel so cramped, like you're in a closet. Like literally, my closet. Is it bigger than this room? I'm not sure. So I measured it, like, if I took, like, 7 normal steps from the one side to the other, that's, like, how big it was. Not, like, one right in front of the other, just, like, because I was pacing back and forth, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That was an amazing coping mechanism. I recommend it highly. Just walk. Walk, 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 walk while you're in there if you can't sleep. Um, and then, like, it was very thin, though, so it was, like, 3 2 or 3 steps, like, where the toilet and the sink was where you first come in, and then, like, 4 steps, like, there was, like, a bed, and then across the bed, there was a desk, which was nasty. It had, like, red spots, and she was like, "Oh, that's just from them spilling their punch." I'm like, "Okay." So, I got in addition to my sheets, I got 2 washcloths, and thank God it's nice out because I get cold easily, and I was able to not use that many blankets on top of me, so I can have them under me. So I felt germ safe, or whatever you wanna call it, energy safe. And then there was a window, and I didn't realize it was a window for some reason because it was nighttime and it was dark, and it was, like, just, like, probably, like, 4 feet across and, like, not even a foot wide, maybe a little more than a foot, and then, like, a big metal or wooden bar in the middle from the outside. And I was like, "Oh," I felt like my kitty cat. Like, I was like, "This is karma." Because when she first followed me home, I made her stay in my bathroom all night, and she was meowing all night, and that's like, what if I just went, "Meow, meow," all night? Is that an option since that lady across the way is just screaming? Can I just be like, "Meow"? Meow. Let me out. Meow. Let me out. Oh my God, meow sounds like me out. Let me out. Oh my God, my little kitty cat. I was so worried about her, but my friend took care of her. Yay. Um, and anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, I could understand why kitty cats like they find that window and they're like, oh, that's how I felt. I'm like, oh, a window. It gives me hope. I have more of a connection to the outside world than I thought. I thought I was just in a cement box. So that was a moment. That was like after several hours that I noticed it was the outside. And I was like, where's the moon? I had to stand on my bed to kind of do it. But anyway, there were a lot of physical things happening with me. So it was hard for me to just like slide in and do my qigong practice. Like I was shaking a little bit, like I was traumatized, and I tried to just lie down. And you know how when you like feel really stressed, like there's no way you can relax. Like I felt like my whole body was like boom, 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 like palpitating. And I was like trying to do energy work on myself and it wasn't really working. And that's when I think I just did my whole like Wu Gong form and that helped. And I did like a whole chakra cleanse and that helped. And and then I think I kind of like went to sleep for 2 minutes and then they shine the lights on. Like I don't know if they shine the flashlight every hour or what, but it was like they were like keep an eye on you, like they make sure that you're okay or whatever, you haven't left. And so then they did the flashlight a couple times. The girl was still screaming, "Let me out, let me out." And I sang. I actually sang when I first went in there. I sang like, "Don't worry about a thing." And I was singing that to hopefully help the energy of the other things that were going on because you could hear everything. It was like an echo chamber. Um, and then I did a chakra cleanse, like singing like lum lum, but I tried not to be too loud. And that really did help the vibration, the vibrational therapy. Um, and then I kind of went to sleep, and then all of a sudden the lights came on in my cell. And I'm like, what? It was like, it couldn't have been morning yet. It's like, are they just trying to wake us up? This is so weird. Like, they don't let us sleep at all. So they put the lights on, and I'm just like, I had just fallen asleep. It probably was like 11 or midnight because I get in there at 9 and I'm like, well, I'm just going to start the sleeping process now. You never know. Maybe I'll have a nice healing 12-hour sleep. Okay. So the big fluorescent light comes on and it doesn't go off. And so I do my little intercom thing. I kind of would like to know what's going to be happening in the next few hours. What do I need to prepare for? Not that it was pitch black, but it was like, she's like, we're changing shifts. It'll go off at some point. No, she was like, the little one could be off, but not the big one. So I guess if I turned the light on, it was a big one. And by the way, next to the light switch above it, there was this like switch that looked like a gigantic blender switch. And it had like, it was down. And I was like, what the heck is going to happen if I flip that up? Am I going to like blend this whole jail? Just kidding. I knew that wouldn't happen, but I'm like, what is this? Anyway, stay tuned and I'll tell you what I found out it was. So the lights come on and it seems like they're not gonna go off. What I later found out was when they're changing over shifts, the light comes on. It could be an hour, it could be 15 minutes, it could be whatever they need to do. So at that point, I realized, well, I have this towel. I'll just lay it over my eyes and I will try to go to sleep and I won't see the light. I've done it plenty of time before where I just fall asleep on the couch at a party because I'm tired and the lights are on and the music's playing. Not that it's the best sleep, but I decided to have faith that I could do it. But the washcloth was really stinky, like, not like stinky stinky, but like detergent stinky, like not a detergent that smelled good, like just flowery weirdness. And then I started to panic and be like, ah, I'm gonna get this smell on my hair too. Oh no. But I'm just like, sleep is more important. You could do this, Aviva. But I couldn't. And I think that's about when I realized I'm just gonna pace. I'm just gonna walk back and forth and move some of this energy around because I've tried qigong, I've tried the sitting still and chanting, meditating, praying, and it wasn't doing the trick. So I started walking back and forth and I started writing a song, like an original song about the experience. And that's when some tears finally like started flowing a little bit. And I'll sing you guys the song if you want. Um if I remember it. I just sang it over and over again because I didn't have a notepad with me to write it down. I didn't have an instrument to remember the chords. I'm like, I'm just gonna write a song. Like God gave me the gift of songwriting. I'm gonna use it in jail to get me through the night because it's gotten me through everything else in my life. That's why I do it. I mean, ever since I was a kid, writing a song was my way out of jail, literally in all these different situations, like heart jail. So I started writing the song and it goes like this. And I didn't write the whole thing then. I added the second part in the morning. So I'm just going to sing the part I wrote then. And then we get to the morning story, I'll add the other one. So it went like this. He pulled me over. I was so scared. He said, get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. It's just like the literal song would happen. I said, am I under arrest? He said, yes. I said, I did nothing wrong. I guess I did resist because I exist. I said, I did nothing wrong. He really had no right, so I put up a fight because I did nothing wrong. He put me down on the ground, but I did nothing wrong. The backup came, put my cuffs on again. I still did nothing wrong. And now I'm in this jail cell. And the only thing healing my pain is singing this song again and again. And now I'm in this jail cell. And the only thing healing my pain is singing this song again and again. And I just sang it over and over again. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to remember the melody. And it was like my lullaby. And then I was pacing and singing it, and then I sang myself to sleep, and I fell asleep finally. And then I heard like a basketball game happening in the hallway, like literally like put put on. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just went to sleep again. And I hear someone banging on the door, like, you want breakfast? Like to the door, like not me yet. Like she was going in order. Hold on, I need to spray myself. Oh. And the inmate was like, what time is it? She's like, it's almost 4. No, no, the torture. Like, not only do you wake everyone up at like 3:45 in the morning, but they have to know that they still have like another 6 hours or 5 hours that they have to be in there. Like, instead of like, if it was like 6 o'clock breakfast or 7 o'clock breakfast, you'd be that much closer to getting out. I'm getting a cramp. Because the thing is it's really hard for that not to occupy your mind when you're in jail. It's hard not to think, how many more hours do I have to stand of this? Because it's torture. Because, when you're doing something you love, it's like, oh my God, it's been 2 hours. And that's why singing is something I love. So when I started doing that, it changed my time dimension continuum and it just relaxed me. And I wasn't like, how much time is left? But then I woke up again and I'm like, heart beating fast. How do I get back to sleep? I think I did more qigong. I think that's when I noticed like I can see outside and I'm like, oh, and I was pacing and I sang the song again. And I guess like I don't think I ever really went to sleep for more than like 10 minutes. But maybe at that point I like slept for an hour because the next time I woke up after pacing a lot, it was light outside and I can see the sky. And that's when I wrote the next part of the song. So, um, I'll get to the charges in a second, Ray. I just don't want to lose my train of mind, and that'll take me down a whole other thing. So I looked out the window and I wrote this part. And now I see the sky. The clouds are sheep because they look like little sheep. I think I must have had like 2 hours sleep. My sanity of mind, I know I can keep. Clink, clanking noises outside, bright lights on. Clink noises outside, bright lights on. I did nothing wrong. Clanking noises outside, bright lights on. I did nothing wrong. So the whole song is, and then I went back to the chorus after that, but I'll do the whole song. And then the charges were suspended license, which I didn't know about because I didn't know about the court date I was supposed to appear at because they sent it to the wrong address. And I talked to an officer afterwards and they were like, they did not have to do this to you. He did not have to do this to you. So anyway, we'll go into that story another day because that caused a lot of physical pain because I knew he was being a bully. So the whole song is, he pulled me over. I was so scared. He said, get out of your car. Put your hands behind your back. I said, am I under arrest? Aren't they supposed to say you're under arrest? Like you have the right to remain silent? Like, isn't that a protocol? I said, am I under arrest? He said, yes. I pulled my hands out. I said, I did nothing wrong. I guess I did resist because I exist. And I did nothing wrong. He really had no right. So I put up a fight because I did nothing wrong. He put me down on the ground, but I did nothing wrong. The backup officers came, put on my cuffs again, but I did nothing wrong. And now I'm in this jail cell. The only thing healing my pain is singing this song again and again. And now I'm in this jail cell, and the only thing healing my pain is singing this song again and again. And now I see the sky, the clouds are sheep. I guess I must have had maybe 2 hours sleep. My sanity of mind, I know I can keep. Clinking noises outside, bright lights on. Clinking noises outside, bright lights on. I did nothing wrong. And now I'm in this jail cell, and the only thing healing My pain is singing this song again and again. And now I'm in this jail cell. And the only thing healing this pain is singing this song again and again. That's what I did. Is there music going on? Or is it upstairs? I think it's upstairs. You guys aren't hearing distracting music, are you? Because I'm hearing like a low thing. Thank you, Ellen. Okay, cool. Thanks for being there still. It means so much to me because it's like I want to be able to share this with everyone, but I don't want to repeat this a million times because it's just too crazy and painful. And I want to share this. I want this to be like group therapy. Like some of you have gone through some things and I want to like talk it out if you want. So anyway, finally came the time, you know, you may now leave the cell and go wait in your court line or whatever. And they said the court would be around 10 o'clock. So I guess they let us out around like 9:20, 9:30. And we were like, there was like four of us up there, and it was like this craziest maze to get through, elevators this way, stay to the right, stay to the left, whatever. All these doors that opened and locked, ka-choom. And so we made it to the court, and I had to go sit in like my own little isolated cell because I was wearing that red, you know. Oh, and I had to wear handcuffs. No one else did because I was medically. They couldn't touch me because I was medically didn't give them permission. I didn't sign over my whatever, my body. I have sovereign rights over my own body. So, but they could put handcuffs on me, which is on my body. Anyway, so at least they were in the front. So I was waiting in my cell and I was just like laughing to myself about like how ridiculous the whole number thing was. And I was laughing to myself because I was going to ask someone if I could get the handcuffs off. And because I thought maybe it was just for walking, but like, because I wanted to do qigong, I wanted to do some tai chi, I wanted to, stretch out some of this energy. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a qigong class for tomorrow called like how to do qigong in handcuffs. So I came up with all these qigong moves to do in handcuffs. I am such a weirdo. And then I was thinking about how like I do these crazy Sunday songwritings, which is like the soundtrack to my life. That's what I've been saying for years now. It's like, yes, I have these produced songs, but I think it's really funny to, and not only funny, but I think it's healing to do soundtracks to your life. I learned that in a theater group in New York years ago. Like they would literally write monologues that were based on their real life, and they would have like these cathartic moments and intense, like reliving traumas. But I was like, well, why don't we do it fun? And that's kind of what Sunday songwriting became. It's like, well, I do write little songs about everyone I meet pretty much almost. And the crazy circumstances I go through, why not just write a song about it? Life is a musical. So I was literally just in my weird brain thinking how funny it would be if I got, which I knew was absolutely impossible. Like this is like Dadaism or whatever, the theater of the absurd, to literally have like other inmates and the officers be like, Sunday, Sunday songwriting, ATFB. Anyway, I have to get back to Sunday songwriting, but maybe this is the next level. Maybe it's just talking about life and singing the songs you wrote about the life. So there I was in the cell having these thoughts, making up qigong moves for tomorrow. So I got to go buy a pair of handcuffs from the dollar store so I could demonstrate well. And I'm so happy I'm home to be able to teach that class. Oh my God. And I'm so sad that my court date is the same day that I teach at the Elderly Living Center. So I don't know if I could change it. Okay, we're gonna finish this story, and it doesn't end here. Like, it's not just gonna get better. So I go to court, and they oh, before court, I got a knock on the door, like, which is why I still couldn't sleep, like, maybe, like, at 8, maybe that's what woke me up, to say, "Do I want a public defender?" And I'm like, "Do I?" And they're like, "We don't give advice." And I'm like, "You know what? Why not?" So it was an application. It was like $50 to get her, but not everyone qualifies. So we're down there, and on the way to the courtroom, before I was put in my cell, actually, I was put in my cell after court. Get mixed up when things happen. And she was like, "Okay, who is approved for the public defender?" She asked the public defenders because there was a little public defender area. And so she called 2 names, and I wasn't one of them. Hey, Willow, I love you, honey. I hope this doesn't trigger you. But I'm putting light, light, love, love into this experience. Um, so I wasn't approved for a public defender, but some other people were. And what it was a Zoom judge. So we get into court, and they face the Zoom judge towards us. It's like freaking Star Wars. It's totally Star Wars. And she like explains something, and then like this big officer dude walks in, and very tall, and he's like, "I see," like, she's like, "Do we need an interpreter?" And like, "Do we have," he's like, "Only 2 people were approved for the public defender? That means you're all either homeless or really poor, because the only reason why you don't get qualified is you don't have enough money." And that triggered me, because I've been homeless before, and I'm poor. But I think that, just like I try to see the positive, like, okay, this whole experience is going to help me understand what other people go through, even though I will say what I went through is probably way less bad than a lot of people, but it still was really bad. And maybe some people don't go through as bad things. I don't know. Same with the homeless thing. It wasn't a bad homelessness issue. I had a truck, but it was still, I experienced psychologically the shame, the insecurity. And so I feel like this officer, maybe it wasn't intentional, but it just really rung this bell in me. Like, you're calling all these prisoners homeless, basically. You're shaming them for being poor, and you're kind of robbing them at the same time. Like, I feel like I was robbed. Like, if not physically, financially, which I definitely think, I'm gonna have to pay $250 to the impound to get my car later tonight or tomorrow. That, I mean, and I don't know if they took anything. Um, and that was the other thing. They started going through my stuff, and I'm like, "Do you have a warrant for this?" They like took a honey bear out, a mellow bear, honey bear, and okay, thank you, Amand. Yeah, I don't know how long I'm gonna be, just as long as I get the story out. And they're like, "You have cannabis," and I'm like, "It's hemp." They're like, "It says THC." I'm like, "It's legal THC." So at least I got to educate them. And I was, though, worried that they might have, charged me for that, because I didn't know what my charges were. I didn't get my tickets until court was over. And like, there was a guy who was up there that got charged for less than an ounce of weed. Anyway, so there I am, like, absorbing what this guy just said about us not qualifying for a public defender, and I decided to take some of my power out back, and I was like, and some of us are musicians who are only poor financially, but very rich in other ways. What sounds overreaching? And he he really like validated that. He was like, "You're right." I was like, "Thank you." Um so I mean, I had the charges before court, they just didn't tell me what it was. So I was, like, really nervous to hear what the charges was, and what basically happened is they turned the judge back around to the side, and then they called people up one by one, and I'm like, "When are they gonna call me? I gotta get out of this place. I gotta go home to my kitty cat." And then they basically told you what your bail was, and then you had to make the bail to leave, or you had to stay there till your court date, and most of the court dates were June 20th. So she, the judge, she seemed pretty cool. Like, it seemed like every time they recommended, like, a high charge for people, she did it lower. So I'll just cut to mine, because that's what you're here for, me. And, so my charge was driving with a suspended license and disorderly conduct, which I think is probably a better charge to get than resisting arrest. I'm not sure. So I was kind of relieved, but they suggested 1,000 bond for each. And then she ended up just charging 250 for the disorderly conduct and 500 for this driving without suspended license. And I said, I didn't know. And she goes, "Well, that's not my responsibility that you didn't know. You can go to the DMV website and find out. So you guys, we got to check that regularly, apparently." Okay. So then I called my bestie and I'm like, "All right, here's the deal. It's this much bail." Um, they didn't give me my credit cards. I didn't have my wallet. Um, that stayed in my car. So I couldn't bail myself out. And I was like, "Here's the name of the bailing company that they recommended." And it was King Bond or something. And so I called another bestie, and then the besties, you know, called some other people, and I was like, "Okay, what's going on?" And I was gonna call back and check in on this like 30-second call, but my bestie was able to put like $15 in there so we could talk as long as we want. Thank God. And but when I was about to go call again, the lady hands me a blanket and sheets and says, "We're going back up." And I like panicked inside. I was like, "There's no way. I I have to be in jail again tonight. That's crazy." And she was like, "Well, if you don't get bail at a certain time." I'm like, "They didn't tell me." She was like, "Well, it needed to be by, I guess you had like 40 minutes after your court date, or I don't know, to get it after your court hearing." And and then you have to go back upstairs. And she goes, "Don't worry, they could bond you out from upstairs." And I was like, "Okay, I'm relieved, but I don't want to sit in a freaking small jail cell again." So I started to freak out a little bit. They tried to offer me a couple bologna sandwiches. I was like, "No, thank you. Still doing my water fast." I got to say, I tried to make this a little meditative retreat for myself as much as possible. Thank God I went to Jeju and prepared a couple weeks ago. Got me in the mood. So, I'm not recommending you prepare for jail, but I will say if you do practice weekly fasting and or monthly fasting and clean your body, I think you'll be able to handle any trauma better. I'll put it that way. So, you can call it preparing for jail or just like doing qigong regularly. Add it to the list of benefits. It not only is great for the body and the mind, but it prepares you for traumatic situations like going to jail. It really does in some ways. It's not foolproof. So, anyway, this is when I was like, "Okay, but can I just make a call real quick?" Because I could not figure out how to use the phones upstairs. Like, they just were not working. And she's like, "It's just your number and your pin." I'm like, "Trust me, I tried that." So we get up there and I was like, "Okay, cool. I can use the phone." And the woman's like, "Not until I give everyone their tray." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Can I just get a glass of water?" And she's like, a styrofoam cup of water. And she's like, not until I give everyone their tray. So I'm going back into the jail cell, y'all. And it's like 12:30 today. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I have no water. I need to find out what's going. I need to call them and let them know there was a time limit. I'm freaking out. So I go in my cell and I'm just like, she's like, you want your tray? And it was some kind of food. And I'm like, no, thanks. I'm not eating. I just want to make a call. She's like, well, you have to wait till I give everyone else their tray. Well, that woman that was going crazy last night decided to escape somehow. And she like got out of her jail cell and she said, go back upstairs, go back upstairs. That became like this big thing, super loud. I was just standing there like sending chi from my cell. And at one point I was just like, so frustrated. And she called for backup and like 3 other officers did something. And I was just like, oh, I hope they don't hurt her. Like, it was traumatizing to hear that. It reminded me of this kid who had a tantrum in 5th grade and the nurse like escorted him out and he was like, ah! And I was just like, maybe he just needs a hug. Anyway, they just start cackling after that. Like there's 3 of them just laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. And I'm like, they forgot that I want to make a phone call. So I'm just like, okay, sit down, do another chakra cleanse, do some squats, do some push-ups. Yeah, get those push-ups in. Can't do anything else. Might as well get your exercises in. And I did not do it on the floor. I did it on the bed that was covered with my new blanket and sheets. And then it got a little quiet. So I was like, hey, I wanted to make a phone call. Remember me? Ignored me. Pressed the intercom thing. Hey, can I make a phone call now? Ignored me. Did a little more qigong. Did my little blooms. Hey, can I make a phone call now? I swear it was like an hour. And finally she was like, I'm just going to let you make a phone call because I promised you. That's the only reason. Like, great. She's like, but you got to be quick. And I'm like, okay, but I need help using this phone. I didn't say it like that because I couldn't figure it out before. And she was like, it's just the number and the thing. Your number is right here. And so the number was like 1 number off from what the lady told me the night before. She was like 5'5" and it was 5'3". So it worked. And I was like, I got through to my friend and she calmed me down. She said it was like going to be another hour and a half. She said they were like, he was in court for some reason, the bond company, and they had to wait for him to get back. And then they have to do this whole processing thing with me. And I'm like, okay. And that hour and a half felt like 9 hours to me. I'm telling you, the time dimension shifts when you're under pressure. I think that's the chemical equation. Pressure with time equals the length of the time. So I sang the song again, and now I'm in the jail cell. The only thing healing my pain is singing the song again and again. And now I'm in this jail cell, and the only thing healing my pain is singing this song again and again. Can you guys send healing energy towards my wrist, please? My cuffed very tightly wrists. Black flower essences. Well, what seemed like forever, but was probably at that point maybe 2 hours later, maybe 2.5. I like was starting to go crazy, like not crazy, but like, I gotta leave here now. Like, is this gonna happen? Like, because I was thinking, like, is this gonna happen? Because there's always a chance it's not gonna happen. Like, I'm not gonna get out of here. So I was like, "Hey, can I make another phone call?" And then she was like, "Beep, beep, 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 beep." Couldn't understand what she was saying. She said, "They're in the process of," I was hoping she was like, "They're in the process of getting you out." And so I was like, "Okay, cool. Just 25 more blooms and I'll be out of here." And I really enjoyed those qigong blooms, you know? Blooms. I'm like, "Okay, just 25." And then I'm like, "Okay, 25 more." So I did all 100 blooms. So finally, grab all your belongings. Let's get out of here. You've been bonded out. Like, oh my God. Thank you, Diane. So we go down that maze again. I don't think they put handcuffs on me this time. Yeah. And I was like, "Can I buy these pants?" I was getting attached to them. And she's like, "You do not want to be seen in public with those pants." I'm like, "Good point." Because they were the red ones. So, like, it would be like an escaped prisoner, you know? They were like the highly dangerous prisoners, apparently, the ones that could possibly have TB because I didn't get the test. But anyway, it said ACDC, so I figured it could be the band, you know, instead of the Atlanta Correction Detention Center. Oh my gosh. Um, she was like, "No, you can't buy those, but you can probably buy some other pants." Because I basically was arrested in a bikini, you guys. I was just wearing a bikini and the little like jean halter skirt I have. So that's another issue. Like, he wouldn't even let me like straighten up to go into the correction facility. Like, he put the cuffs in the front of my hands to the back, and I was like slowly like my skirt was like hiked up here, and I was like slowly, oops, sorry, getting it down. You guys, that didn't show anything today. And anyway, thanks for listening to me vent. So I'm like being processed. Oh, when I was processed in the beginning, like they did the fingerprint thing, and so they did the fingerprint thing again with me leaving. I guess my finger, I don't know why. And oh, and this is crazy too. Like, I was signing for my money, but not my stuff yet, because in order to get my stuff, I had to like get the official bail guy to ID me. He was going to come over, and literally the window where you sign for your stuff and you sign like the PIN number, which might be why I didn't hear her say that she changed my PIN number. It was like a breeze, like blowing on you. So I was like, "Oh, I didn't tell you an important part of the story." I returned all of my blankets except my roll of toilet paper because I was like, "You know what? I don't want to waste toilet paper. I just don't." So I rolled it up in my pants for the court. Well, let me tell you, they didn't give me a roll of toilet paper when I went back to jail. So I am so happy I saved that toilet paper because I did have to go to the bathroom. So anyway, the lesson is save your toilet paper. But I threw it out at the end. I didn't really throw it out when they gave me my skirt back and they told me to take my red, outfit off, which I did unwillingly. Just kidding. I left the toilet paper in the bathroom because there was no toilet paper in the bathroom. I was like, "Okay, this will have a good use here." And then I went back with my cup of water and my sheets, and I was like, the breeze was coming at me, and I was like signing things, and I was like spilling the water, and they're like, "Stop spilling the water." I'm like, "Okay, I'm juggling a lot right here. Give me a break." So then we're about an hour now, you guys. I don't want to go too much longer. Maybe 15 more minutes. And thank you for hanging out with me. And if anyone wants to donate towards my car impound, God bless you. That's all I have to say, but I'll figure out a way either way. Um, and as always, you know what? I'll just put the links right here in the chat while I'm thinking about it. Because you never know. Some millionaire might be like perusing channels looking for, girls that just got out of jail that need some help getting their cars out of the impound because they got to flow their money towards someone so that they can keep money in flow, right? That's how it works. So I'm going to grab that link and where are you? Link. Here it is. All kinds of different ways you can donate to my channel here and my impound fund and my anti-bully fund. Bam. Okay, so I'm getting out, but they have to check the GCIC first to make sure there's not another warrant out for my arrest for some other reason. And I was like, oh my God, what if there is? Don't panic, Aviva. You're probably okay. So I was okay. I had to like sign things and sign the court date things. And then they're like, okay, when the bail guy's here, we'll let you go meet him in the front. And by the way, I forgot to mention in the story, like I kind of mentioned it, but like when I sang that song, and now I'm in a jail cell, and the only thing healing my pain, like I couldn't sing it sometimes because I had so many tears like coming up, and I was like, like it was processing it, you know, it was really, really good. And then I get out, and then like she opens the door, and I do this like dance move, like I'm free, and I jump into the lobby, and there's the bail guy who literally looks like a hippie Jesus. He's got like curly hair, tattoos all over him, like a shirt cut like this, like a gray shirt. And he's like holding up his sheet, like, here you go. I bailed you out. And I was like, you are so spiritual. You're like the opposite of everything I've felt the past 28 hours or whatever. So that was like a little fun part of the story. And so just so you know how bail works is like we paid them like almost $200, but then they pay the full bail and then they get it back when you show up at court. So they just need to know that you're legit going to show up at court, and then they work with the courts. And so I don't have to pay the full $1,000, which is cool. 'Cause I know I said it was $750, but then they have like court charges and stuff like that. So I was like, oh my God, you are so cool. I told him to watch tonight. I told him I was going to talk about it live. I don't know if he's here or not. He's probably bailing some other people out. He's like the bail cowboy. You go, boy. Y'all, I got bailed out, and then I waited for my friend to pick me up, and I started singing the song outside. I actually voice memoed it to her. That's how I write songs sometimes. We voice memo to each other. And sometimes I just voice memo my songs to her because I just want to voice memo them to someone. I can play you the crying one, but I don't think I need to. I don't want to depress you guys unless you think it'll help you understand my emotional space. Okay, I will. Hold on. Can you hear? And I'm out. I'm released, you know, and I'm just like so cataclysmic. Oh, I guess I dropped that one. Oh, that was me singing on my way out of jail because I didn't want to forget the song, so I wanted to voice memo it. And the guy was like, push hard on the door, and I was like, what did you just say? So I stopped voice memoing it. I was so scared. He said, get into the car. Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. I said, am I under arrest? He said, yes. I said, I did nothing wrong. I guess I did resist, because I exist, and I did nothing wrong. I thought he had no right, so I put up a fight, 'cause I did nothing wrong. He put me down on the ground, but I did nothing wrong. The backup came, put me in cuffs again, but I did nothing wrong. And now I'm in my jail cell. The only thing healing my pain. See, that's just like, it just got it out. Bringing the sun again. And it's like once I was released, you know, I didn't have to be so strong, and I can just kind of let it go, and it's just like feeling the love from the people around me. And you know, you cry when you don't get enough sleep too. So that's the story, you guys. And then I and then I had to figure out what my car was, which was like a whole little detective scene in itself. Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Can you imagine like all the guards in their break room, like watching this? Sweet dreams, Willow. Oh, my heart hurts. You know, I'm starting to feel like, so I just wanted to process some of these things. Like, I think one of the reasons why that song, singing that, was really healing for me, like, I did nothing wrong, because I think what happens when you're in jail is you're sometimes like, did I do something wrong even though you didn't do it wrong? Like, literally, am I doing something wrong by asking for a drink of water because I'm thirsty? Like, do you realize how psychologically fucket that is? Like, you're not even allowed to ask for water. Serious psychological torture. But it gets you to start thinking, like, did I do something wrong? So, yeah, I've picked up a lot of people from jail before. I've never bailed anyone out. And I've talked to friends who have gone to jail and they shared their experience with me. And I just hope that this video can be helpful in some ways to them, like as if I'm their voice in some ways. Maybe you guys experience some of what I've experienced and you can get some healing with that vocalization of it. And if you, I don't want anyone to end up in jail, but if you do, I do have these tips that I kind of summarized in the description of this video. And, you know, it's just really confusing. It's really confusing to like deal with this energy and deal with abuse. It can be really confusing, and confusion causes a lot of mental instability, I think, because stability means you're not confused, right? You know, I know some of you are asking me questions on Facebook, and I think I'm going to go on there real quick and answer them live, because I don't like texting. Like, texting for me is a punctuation. It's not a sentence. It's like, I like having a conversation with someone and then text me an afterthought. Like, don't text me the whole conversation. That doesn't work for me. And so, like, I don't want to answer Facebook messages like, this is what happened. Like, I want to be like, I want to answer it while you hear my voice and my tone and my expression. And I wish I could feel that with you guys too. Maybe if anyone wants to hang out tonight, if anyone wants to go get my car with me, let me know. They're open till midnight. But yeah, let me just see if there's any questions on Facebook, and I'll answer them to my best ability. And maybe I'll tell the story about the whole arrest. Um, if not publicly, then at least for the Patreons. And not because I'm trying to exclude anyone, but I just feel like Patreon's a safer platform for me to share stuff that is a little more personal. I know I'm like putting a lot out there, but so yeah. People are so nice for reaching out. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. Let's grab this link. Is this it? I think that's it. Okay. So, let me just see this post here. Everyone's giving so much love. I just want to publicly say, like, thank you for the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Coleman, Kelly, Mary, Trish, Joe, Thompson, Corey. Yeah, and I think I might go live again with the actual arrest story, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I might eat something. I still haven't eaten anything. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Amberly. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Janine. Sorry if I wish I missed anyone. Yeah. I just want there to be more love in jail. Like, I really do. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, David. Yeah, jump on live if you have any questions. I'll look at all this. Thank you for the love. Jump on live if you have any questions. Grateful to have an amazing process with. So here I am. Aw, Laura, sorry you had to go through that. Thank you, Sukari. Thank you, Monica. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Wade. He says, I know the dirty feeling. I was arrested in a police riot in Ohio and spent the night in jail. Madness. I'm sure you know to perform cleansing routines. Yeah, ohms, burn sage. Well, yeah, I need to burn sage now, but yeah, I ohmed there. Singing and writing, absolutely. I've been journaling about it since I got back. It's so helpful. And even when I was in there, I was trying to pretend I had my writing exercise, the matrix therapy, deal with the crazy negatives as best as we can, rationally, strategically, and with our brothers and sisters. Absolutely. That's why I'm reaching out tonight on this live. I just feel called to reach out and be like, give me love, please. This is crazy. So yeah, Wade, totally. I've been the matrix therapy, you guys, has helped me so much. Even while I was in there, I was kind of pretending that I had the matrix therapy on me. And I was like, okay, how has this happened in my past? Like, what is this a pattern of? And I started to remember some of the times I was bullied in middle school, and I still have not fully processed it, even though I do it a lot in inner child work. I'm very diligent with that. There are still points where I think I blamed me for like, I think I deserved to be bullied on some level. I think from the middle school experience, because it was the same kind of thing where the authorities didn't even stop the bullying from happening, right? So I think something in me felt like I deserved the bullying, and then I carry it with me years later, and that's why I experienced this where I try to change the pattern and stand up for being bullied, but I think there's still lessons for me to learn, like as far as like really believing I do not deserve to be bullied. And that's where the song is so healing for me because I did nothing wrong. Okay, just a couple more. I'm gonna cut this off at 10:20 the latest because I do need to process some more by myself and get my car maybe. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Beth. Leanne says, it takes courage to do what you have done with your activism all these years. That clearly has put you in the spotlight and a target at times. Thanks for doing it anyway. I'm sorry it caught up with you this time. Resilience and healing are yours yet again. Yeah, and I think maybe like the spotlight thing, like I do think there could be like some kind of inner working of cops that like know like, oh, these people might be troublemakers or whatever. But I also think my activism kind of just sometimes just pulls me too thin. Like I'm not paying attention to other things I need to pay attention to, like making sure my license isn't suspended. Oh man. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Kathy. You have stories too. Well, please share them if you feel comfortable and safe, and it might help, you process them too. Absolutely handling it on the spiritual, metaphysical level. I definitely think, oh, Catherine, thank you. Um, I'm so happy I'm home too, Patrice. Thanks for chiming in. Thank you, Michael. Like these guys, this is so much more meaningful for me to call you out here, even though some of you might not see this like at the very end of the video. Like I'm thanking you all live. Um uh oh Lordy. Yeah. I just, I feel like the sooner we process these things, the better. Like if I had this community and other traumas that I went through, like my, like other traumas that I went through, I hid instead of reaching out. And I know that it adds to like the reaction time. Thanks, Jordan. I'm hanging in there. Like when you hide from things instead of processing them right away, I think the sooner you process it, the better. Like the sooner you wash your dishes, the better, or it gets crusty. So that's why I'm just like, yeah, it's the same day, but I'm just like, let's do it right now. Let's process as much as we can. Let me process as much as we can with the help from you. Like if I did this with other issues I had where I just like reached out and was like, you guys, I need support, I need love, this happened. I think I would be in a lot better place with some of my PTSD from those triggers, which is what I think triggered me to actually do a little bit of what did they call it? Conduct that was disorderly, like get out of my handcuffs a couple of times. Because I was just really scared to be with this guy in the back of a car by myself. Like something told me that is not a good idea. And it could just be from a past situation that he might have been similar to someone who did something horrible to me. But I realized maybe what I could have done instead of be disorderly, I could have been orderly and said, you know what? I will get in the back of your car with you if you call another officer over, a woman officer, so I feel safe. But I don't feel safe getting in your car. He was just shoving me in the car. I was scared. Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kobe. I said thank you to all of you already, and I want to say a million times thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Terry. All right, you guys. I think I said thank you to all of you personally. Oh, Ira, thank you. I love you. I hope nobody else experiences this, but if you do, I hope I gave you some comforting advice. Okay. Um, where are we? So let's sum it up for the healing. For the healing people, I just want to say that this is um like I said, I did a Sunday songwriting, and it's at the beginning of the chat from the situation where this started, where I was fighting a ticket and I never got the court notice for that ticket, which is why my license was apparently suspended because they sent it to the wrong address. So, I kind of covered this, our perception of time, like that just blew me away. Is that time, like those, it felt like forever. Like that was the longest 12 hours of my life, it felt like. Um, it feels like a long time when you're stuck in a place you don't want to be. So I tried to play tricks on my mind, like, how could I want to be here? Well, I could want to be here because it gives me a new perspective on what it's like to be here. I could want to be here because I could think about all the beautiful people that miss me right now, who value me and I value them. And so I'm going to focus on my value to other people instead of how I'm not valued here. Because it's easy, I think, to slip into that when you're in a situation where you're like a prisoner, literally. It's like you're not valuable to them at all. And so are you going to not value yourself, or are you going to keep valuing yourself? Um, and then what else? What are the other techniques I talked about? I jotted down. So it's just always an interesting thing to talk about, that the perception of time, and then of course the reaction time. Like reaction time, I've talked about it before. It's like, well, I might feel some of this pain in a couple of days because it's just a lot to process. So it's like I'm not doing all the dishes on the same day. Same metaphor. Like the emotions might just come up in the middle of when I'm teaching tomorrow. You never know, and I might need to process more, and that's okay. And I think we need to accept that as a society, that emotionally we don't process everything right away. As a matter of fact, we more so habitually stuff everything, and then in a week it comes out when we're like tired. And so, I think we could all do better, like making room for that. And that means we're going to have to sacrifice maybe, focusing on making money in certain ways. Because if you're focused just on making money, then you don't have time to be like, well, if I'm caring about emotions, then I'm not making money while I'm caring about emotions. Well, maybe there's an emotional economy we need to start working on. Okay, our perception of freedom. Like I was asking myself that question a lot while I was in jail. Like I am free to choose right now to be stressed about the fact that I'm not out of here, or to do 25 more squats and like have that freedom to work out in this like pretend coached workout thing that's not really a workout, but I'm going to pretend it is. Um yeah, freedom. What is freedom? It's like the other thing I was thinking about is, where in my life do I feel this physical feeling? Like I sometimes literally feel like I did when I was in that jail cell in certain aspects of my life. Like not as physically harsh, but mentally, where am I trapped? Like where do I feel not free? And too many places I meditated about. I'm like, oh gosh, let's think about something else. How do we be more free in this world? Let's talk about that, seriously. And then the idea of needing permission for basic things. Like, thank God I didn't have to like leave my cell to go to the bathroom, like, and have to hold it, like, even though it was right there with me. Like, their rate of getting to to my attention, like, I never got to leave to get another glass of water. So thank God they didn't take my right to go to the bathroom away. So I just kept on focusing like on the things I was grateful for that I did have. What are the roles we play to survive? Making ourselves smaller sometimes, like not wanting to like wake up the lion who's who's your warden. And can you use your gifts anywhere, including jail? I did. And what are your gifts? I think our gifts not only are talents, but they are what help us feel our feelings. They are what help us make sense of this world, that take the confusion out of it. And I just think it's really important to keep on talking about the abusiveness of our criminal justice system and how it affects everyone. And I think there are some good things about it, and to focus on that too. Like, I kept on recognizing the people that were being like spiritual and helpful and kind. And I told them I appreciated them. Like the woman who let me clean. She didn't have to let me clean. Um and what else can I say? Yeah, the abusiveness. I feel like there's this, what the heck is that? My toenail just popped off. That is so weird. I feel like there's this what's it called? There's not emotions allowed in police work all the time. Now the cop that we ran into on the way to trying to find where my car was impounded, um, he seemed really nice. He's like, "I wouldn't have done that." So some of them are emotionally aware. So can you teach that? Can that be part of the teaching, or are some people just bullies and some people aren't and they can't be changed? Or can that be some part of the training to realize, being tough on people is not always good for our business, even though you're getting your quota or whatever. I think there needs to be more social pressure. And I think there is. I think it's gone extreme, like, F the police. I think it needs to be like, fix the police. Don't F them. Get them to face their emotional issues. Maybe they're taking out their bad relationship on you that day. All right, I'm going to go soon. But basically, thinking about people I love, cleaning, gratitude, prayer, singing, qigong, pacing back and forth. Those were my survival techniques in jail last night, you guys. It's no fun being robbed of your sleep, being robbed of your sanity, perhaps. And whatever you can, you know, whatever you can keep as yours, your energy, and reject the energy that's not for you. So I'm going to crawl back into my matrix cave. And thank you again for your love. I know some people are just popping on here. A few minutes ago, I just thanked everyone live. So you can, after I stop the video, I'll timestamp my Facebook acknowledgement discussion. So you can hear me answering your questions and reading your comments. But I'm fading. Join me for qigong tomorrow at 11:30 if you want some handcuff moves. And if you would like to help me out because you feel like you want to throw me financial help, I receive it too, but you don't have to, but that would be amazing. $250 to get my car out, not an easy task for a musician. And it has, yeah. some stuff in it. I love you guys. Thank you for the love. Keep praying for me if you pray, because I know I'm going to be recovering probably till the court date for it, because I'm just like trying to like figure all this out. And then it's going to be figured out. That's another positive thing. It's like not this string that's hanging of unknown. It's like, okay, they did try to get in touch with me. They didn't dismiss the case. I didn't know that. Now I know. There's nothing left hanging. We're organizing. We're cleaning. Big group hug.